What's up everybody, Kier Gomes here, and welcome back. So something that I get asked all the time is what my favorite color changes are. Most of you already know what a color change is, but for those of you that don't, it's essentially changing one card into another card. There's endless ways of doing this, and today we're going to talk about my top 5 favorite ways. Before we get started, please do drop a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's roll that intro and get you guys on your way.
Let's go.
All right, so to start us off, number 5, the Erdnase change. All right, now this one might seem a little bit on the nose or a little bit obvious, but if you really think about it, it's one of the first color changes that anybody learns when they get into Magic, and it still remains to be a relevant color change. It's still something that you see performed, it's still something you see in trailers, it's still something that you see used as a way to show skill. The thing I really love about the Erdnase change is that everybody has their own kind of take on it, and everybody has their different ways of revealing a card. You can do it as part of an ambitious card where you make it seem like you messed up. You can make it seem like it's a production. You can make it a vanish. Just in general, it's a very usable and very angle-friendly color change, and that is why it made my top 5. Now, the color change was invented by S.W. Erdnase. Whatever his real name is or who he really was, we'll never know. But the most popular version of the change, which is just turning one card into another card with the wave of a hand, was taught in the Expert at the Card table in the early 1900s. Honestly, I just think it's a change that's super usable, and it's something that you can do in performance, it's something you can do for camera, and it pretty much always looks good as long as you know what you're doing. All right, so this next one is actually my take on an already existing color change, but let's get into it. Number 4, the Bertram change. Now, anybody who knows me knows how much I love the Bertram change. I love doing it on camera. It's not necessarily something that I do live, but I am obsessed with a color change that only takes place with what looks to be a single card. So Bertram change looks really good because if you eliminate the rest of the deck, it literally looks like you are just changing one card into another without any help from the other cards in the deck. My take on it is a swivel motion that helps me get into the Tenkai palm, and then the hand to cover the execution. Now, I have taught my variation of the Bertram change on this channel, so I'll make sure that I either link that down below or I'll have a card pop up at the end of the video so you can go check it out if you want to learn it. Okay, now I don't even know what the proper name for number 3 is because it almost looks like a duck change in terms of what the mechanics are. However, it is based on a move called Instant Replay. Instant Replay is basically a flourish where you can take a card and shoot it out of one hand back to the deck. You guys see me do this all the time. This is something that I just like to do. It's like a fidget move. I'll take a card, I'll flicker it, and then I'll just instant replay back into the middle. This version of the change is one that I learned from Pig Cake, and essentially it is the same as the duck change, only the handling is a bit different. It's done more like instant replay. Now, this is one that I just love because it's super visual and it happens so quick, literally nobody could know what happened. Take the 8 of spades and just change it just like that into the 9 of diamonds. But wait, I can also change that into the 7 of clubs. So this one's really just good if you're kind of just jamming, you know, or if you're fidgeting around and you want to do something highly visual. It kind of just at the split second can fool yourself. That's essentially what I use this change for. But also the angles are very good, so you can perform it live with no issues. Number 2. Okay, now this is one that I know I'm going to get a ton of comments for. My number 2 favorite color change is actually the snap change. Now, you can ask pretty much any magician and they will tell you that they absolutely hate the snap change. And there's a couple of reasons. There's a lot of validity to why somebody would dislike it. For example, this is not a change that you can really perform live, especially if you have spectators kind of off to the side or even far away because of the flash. However, I do think it can be very powerful and it can complement certain other effects, which can make the change really, really, really strong. Now, this isn't gonna fool magicians, but that's not the point. These are my favorite color changes because they're either fun to do or they fool spectators or they're just a good visual way to show off your skills. Now, the snap change is by far probably the easiest color change that I know how to do, besides maybe like the wave change or the shapeshifter or whatever. However, it doesn't take away from the fact that it's super visual and it happens very quickly. I personally, if I'm gonna do the snap change, like to do it like that because it pulls back and then it really hides that motion of flipping the card out. So hate all you want, but that's definitely a color change that I enjoy doing. All right, and instead of doing honorable mentions this time, there's really just an endless list of color changes, and there's so many good ones out there. And there's different variations on pretty much all color changes, so there's different ways of doing a lot of the same effects. But let's get into my number 1, the classic pass used as a color change. For those of you that know me personally, you know the Classic Pass is one of my go-to sleights. I use it as a control. I use it just when I'm fidgeting around. I use it to practice. I use it to fool myself, but my favorite thing to use the Classic Pass for is a color change. Doing Classic Pass as a color change is angle sensitive and can be risky. However, if you practice it enough, it's something that you get used to doing and you get used to seeing it, even though it still fools you. I mean, there's really not enough I can say about it. Now, the angles for this are not great. For example, if you wanted to do it head on, like how you would have to do the snap change, you would see pretty much everything that happens. Whether you're shooting it or you have a spectator looking down at your hands, it's a very easy move to hide, and it happens so fast, the cleanup doesn't take any time. The idea too is you can use it for different effects, right? So you can use it to vanish a card. You can use it in a sandwich routine. You can use it as a control. You can use it as a color change. You can use it as so many different things. And you can do whatever you want with it. So the Classic Pass itself is not a card trick. It's a method, it's a move that allows you to do a card trick in a routine. Now, using this as a color change, I think is a really smart move. And I think that because after you've done the color change, the deck is left a little bit dirty, and you can use that as a revelation for your spectators. So if you want to vanish their card or do a color change, you can kind of transpo it to the middle of the deck and then use that as a reveal later. I just love it. I love the Classic Pass. It's probably one of my favorite sleights. All right, guys, so that is my top 5 list of my favorite color changes. Now, I do want to know what your guys' favorite color changes are, and if you have any that you recommend, I would love to learn them. Color changes are a lot of fun. They're good to do. Not all the ones on my list are my favorite to perform live. Some of them are just my favorite to do because they're fun to do. Some of them are pretty difficult. Some of them are extremely easy, like the snap change. But it is my video, and I made the list, so I can do whatever I want. So let me know what your guys' are. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It does help me out quite a bit. By the way, I just want to say shout out to every single one of you. We just reached 4,000 subscribers on the channel. Normally, this is where I would say it feels like just yesterday I was at 3,000, but like really it wasn't that long ago. Like 2 weeks ago, I hit 3,000, and then now we're at 4. So big shout out to all of my supporters. Big shout out to anybody who subscribed to me after the Alex Pandrea giveaway. Winners for that will be announced very soon. Thank you guys again for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I know I will. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Let's go.